My name is David Lorimer. I'm the Program Director of the Scientific and Medical Network, and I'm here with one of the Beyond the Brain speakers, Dr. Yvonne Kason. She is the president and founder of Spiritual Awakenings International, and she coined the very important phrase spiritually transformative experiences as far back as 1994, which is pretty amazing. So Yvonne, how did you first become interested in consciousness beyond the brain?
Well, what actually got me interested was my own personal experiences. As you mentioned, I am a medical doctor, a traditionally Western trained medical doctor, and I was on teaching faculty at the University of Toronto for many years. But when I was in medical school, in my last year in medical school, I started meditating as a method to calm myself before my exams. And much to my surprise, I had a profound experience, which I will describe during my talk, that I now know was a Kundalini awakening with a mystical experience. But back then, as a Western trained medical almost a graduated medical doctor, I'd never heard of anything like this. I didn't know what it was. And then to further that, when I was finishing my residency training, I was in a medevac plane crash and I was almost killed. And I had what we now know is a near-death experience, an out-of-body, white light, mystical experience when I was almost dead, freezing to death. And back when these occurred in the 70s, there was absolutely nothing within Western medicine or Western psychology to explain these experiences. And my colleagues would listen to me knowing I'm not crazy, but they still said, well, it must have been a hallucination perhaps brought on by cold or an electrolyte imbalance or something. And this was a totally unacceptable explanation to me, and it did not resonate with my soul as truth. I'd seen many patients delirious and hallucinating as a medical doctor. They did not describe the powerful, positive spiritual after effects that I was experiencing. So this is what propelled me to start researching all types of spiritual and paranormal experiences back in the 70s. But I had to do it in the closet for many years because it was so outside the paradigm of Western medicine. On the outside, I had a traditional Western medical practice. I was on faculty at the University of Toronto, but in private, in my secret life, I became a spiritual seeker and a researcher.
Very interesting, and goodness, that's quite a history. And Yvonne, you're going to be talking about that. And what else are you going to be talking about in your presentation next week?
Well, I'm going to be focusing on Kundalini awakening and near-death experiences, exploring the relationship. Because as I just mentioned, in my own awakening journey, I had a profound Kundalini awakening. Then 3 years later, I had a profound near-death experience. And so one wonders, could there be a relationship? Did one trigger the other? Did one make me predisposed to the other? And as I will describe in my presentation, that there was a tremendous amount of overlap in the features of both my Kundalini awakening and my near-death experience. I had the good fortune in the 70s to also travel to India and meet Gopi Krishna, who is a very well-respected yogi mystic and Kundalini researcher. And he thought that Kundalini awakening and near-death experiences were related. And more recently, other researchers, near-death experience researchers like Dr. Ken Ring and Bruce Grayson have also stated that they think there's a relationship. So I'm not alone in feeling there's this relationship. And in my research that I did with the Kundalini Research Network, I also found there's been a relationship. So I'll be talking about the features, some of the research, and what the implications are during my presentation.
Fascinating, Yvonne. Can't wait. So if you were listening to this, do join us at Beyond the Brain next week, 4th to 6th of November, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Thanks so much, Yvonne.
Thank you.